John Otway there. Well, congratulations to him. It's a terrible single, but I'm really glad it's back in the charts. It's awful, isn't it? God bless him, though. We've been joined by Brenda Blethyn. We couldn't be happier. Brenda, thanks for coming in.
Oh, my pleasure. Thanks very much.
I've just looked here on the list of things. They said you were born in Ramsgate.
I was indeed, yes.
I went to several family holidays in Ramsgate when I was young.
Oh, well, we might have met on the beach.
We may have done. What a lovely place, though.
Oh, it is. Lovely harbour.
Do you go back at all?
Yeah, I've just bought a flat in Broadstairs, which is right next door.
How nice.
I'm just doing the deal right now.
Well, that would be lovely. And that will be, what, for summers when you're down there, or just...
Well, for whenever, as frequently as possible.
Yeah. But you live here in London, do you?
Yes, I do.
Because I guess if you're on stage, which you are at the moment, of course, and we'll get to the play in a minute, then you have to be here. You can't really commute.
Oh, yeah, no, you can't. Well, some people do commute. Lots of people commute from Brighton.
Yeah, I guess so. Brighton's not so bad. Tell us about the play you're in. You just opened in a new production of a George Bernard Shaw play, which I am not familiar with.
It's Mrs. Warren's Profession. It's an absolutely wonderful play, and we opened on Thursday, and we got fantastic notices, so we're all thrilled.
Congratulations.
It's hilariously funny. And it's about a young lady who's educated at Cambridge, a very, very respectable young woman, who discovers halfway through how her mother earns her money.
And it is an old profession, by any chance?
It is an old profession. Well, she has a chain of sort of private hotels on the continent. Let's put it that way.
Well, with very, very lavish room service.
That's right, yes. Everything you can think of.
I stayed in one of those once inadvertently. I was in Prague, I didn't know. But the bar was packed every night. It's obviously this is a 19th century play, but is it something which resonates today? Is that why they've revived it?
Well, they've revived it because it's a great play. It's very, very entertaining and extremely funny. It's lovely to hear the audiences howling with laughter. But it's really a play about hypocrisy. It's not really about prostitution, but women then, of course, were driven to that. Otherwise, they'd starve. Just a life of slavery. Yeah. And there was no alternative. And this woman is a very good woman. She had a daughter, and the only way she could provide for her was becoming a prostitute. Right. But she was smart, and she used her money well.
Invested wisely.
She
had whatever the 19th century equivalent of Tessas and Peps were.
That's right.
I believe there was a whole act about her investments that was cut out in the early test. Shaw said, that doesn't play so well. We'll just cut to the chase and they'll imagine how she invested.
Imagine the Tessa.
And the part you play the Mrs. Warren of the title?
Mrs. Warren, yes.
That must be great being the lead role. I mean, I'm sure it's fun doing anything in a good play.
Well, yeah, I mean, they're just so richly drawn, these characters, all the characters. Only 6 characters in it, and it's just the hypocrisy of the whole thing. Here we had last couple of weeks ago, John Major and Edwina. All that coming up.
Did you want to hear about that?
No, I
didn't want to hear about that.
Didn't.
That spoiled my week.
It's the hypocrisy of the whole thing.
Yeah. Well, the Conservatives, of course, being the classic party of choice for that kind of business. When you're on stage doing this kind of play, do you find yourself thinking as if you were from that period? I mean, does that help you, or is it a modern head reading old words?
Well, no, I mean, you have to try and think what the situation these characters find themselves in. You've actually got to start from
so put yourself into there.
Yes, absolutely, to discover what it was actually that drove these women to do what they do, and why her daughter, who's a bright young woman, rejects her mother ultimately.
Do you do a voice in it? Is there an accent or a voice?
Well, she masquerades tries to masquerade as a lady, but she's not quite as good at it as her sister, who lives in a cathedral town, and does very.
I see the way she just started doing the voice. I love it when actresses do that.
Do you, Jonathan?
Did your husband get you to do that sort of thing?
Occasionally.
Tonight, love, I'd like a bit of posh. Any chance? Did you see? Well, you didn't see because I guess you're on stage every night at the moment. Apart from Sunday nights, you have off. Is that
Sunday
right?
Off, yes.
Chipping the Velvet. Did you see the new?
No.
Because I notice that sometimes actresses, when they're doing common gals from Victorian days, they always do the same sort of accent. I tell you what, Dolly. I've only been working on an oyster stall, but you look after yourself, and I'll see you in the big city.
Oh, no.
No one ever spoke like that.
No, Mrs. Warren, come and listen to Mrs. Warren. I think.
Well, you always nail voices. I think very, very well indeed. I mean, we were just talking briefly before we started talking on the show here when the record was on about the Mike Leigh movie you were in, of course.
Oh yes, yeah.
Which was a tremendous success, and I know he was nominated for the Oscar for that, wasn't he?
Yes, there were 5 nominations.
Did you get nominated as well?
Yes.
Well, good.
Yeah.
See, I just double-checking. Who wants to win one, really? Because then you have to go up on stage and make a speech. It's much cooler to be nominated not to win. We all know this.
That's right, yes.
This is what Maggie Smith was saying on the plane home when she didn't win last year. and Dame Judy. But we were talking, and I remember the accent you got in that was what was the sort of
South London.
Yeah.
I mean, if you could walk through any supermarket in southeast London, you hear that sweetheart.
Yeah.
You know.
My dad, who now he lives in France, I can say this completely, he's going out with a woman who speaks just like that.
Oh, really?
Irene.
Very nice too.
She's very lovely, Irene, and she's got the perfect name as well. It's a great name, and I think she is South London. You've been making loads of movies as well. One in particular, which I'm very keen to see. I know it isn't. I think it's not out for a while. Directed by Nicolas Cage.
Oh, Sunny, yes. In fact, there's another lady who's got a bordello set in New Orleans.
You're specialising in madams these days.
Yes, it's rather nice, but they're chalk and cheese. It's like the Ivy compared to a greasy spoon.
Oh,
Mrs. Warren is the Ivy.
She's a nice classy.
Yeah,
she wasn't there through choice.
No, she wasn't. It was through necessity. But the interesting thing is, she stayed in it even when she didn't need to. She likes it.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
I'm going,
You're going to come and see it.
I think I have an erection.
Jonathan.
I'm sorry, you were looking at me in a certain way. You did that voice. You know what that does to me, Brenda. This is your name, Brenda. I like a good common name like Brenda, and you're doing the posh voice.
Oh, Jonathan.
Here we go. Will you stop it? There'll be an accident. This studio's in a bad enough state as it is. We don't want to add to the depravity. But in the Nicolas Cage movie, this is his first time as a director. How was he as a director?
He was great. I really didn't know what to expect. But the most surprising thing about Nicolas Cage was he's got a fantastic sense of humour.
Oh, really?
He's really funny, but you don't get that from most of the roles he plays.
Well, he plays the straightforward action kind of roles. And had you worked with him before?
No,
Oh, right.
no. The only time I'd met him was at the Golden Globes. When I won a Golden Globe, he gave me my prize.
How nice. Yeah. And this is a feature film?
Yes, with Harry Dean Stanton.
Wow.
Wonderful Harry Dean.
The great Harry Dean Stanton, who's probably made more movies than any other living human being, I would have thought.
He plays my boyfriend. He's a thief.
You see, you always do. You never do well in movies like that, do you? There's something about you, I think, that they think, let's tragic her down a bit. Give her a little bit of tragedy, leave in the mix.
Yeah, he says she tells him off for gambling and spending all the money on booze. He goes, you shut up about my gambling. I don't say nothing about your ass getting white about a minute.
See, but some of us like that. Let's play some music and we'll chat to more to Brenda after this. What do we play, Andy?
This is from Supergrass. We had them on playing live.
Oh, yeah, they were fantastic. Supergrass. We've got Brenda Blethyn with us. She's currently to be found in the West End at the Strand Theatre in London in the title role of Mrs. Warren's professor, in which she plays an old pro who basically has risen above the circumstances she finds herself in, as actually the heroine of the piece, I suppose.
Well, no, I would say the daughter is the heroine of the
really?
piece. She's the one who her life is changed when she discovers what her mother does. But there's two. Rebecca Hall is just fantastic in playing the daughter, Vivi.
When you take a part of that, do you check who else will be in it before you say yes, or do you trust? I suppose in the case of Peter Hall, he's a director who you trust him.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, how could I refuse? I mean, George Bernard Shaw and Peter Hall, and you know he's going to get a classy cast. Richard Johnson, Peter Blythe, and another new young actor, Lawrence Fox, James Fox's son, is fantastic as well. And James Saxon. It's such a great cast. And it was a total pleasure working with Peter Hall.
I've heard Peter Hall that he's based himself on Erich von Stroheim. Is that correct when directing? He wears high leather boots and he has a whip. Is that right?
Oh, he's a snappy dresser, yeah.
And he will attack people quite physically.
He could whip me if he wants, yes.
You see, that's what I like about
Part's
Brenda.
gone to my head.
Brenda, she's still got it going on.
He's a gentleman. But he's so knowledgeable about it. You feel like in really safe hands.
That must be nice, though.
Yeah, it was lovely. It's been a pleasure from start to finish.
Then years ago, you were in something that young Sam Mendes directed, though, didn't you? What was that?
That was the last theatre I did, Habeas Corpus.
Okay, so here you got. So you've gone. It's one extreme to the other, really. You've got Peter Hall, the seasoned professional, a man who's won just about every award this industry can offer. He has the respect of his peers, unquestionably. Yeah. And then you've got this snot-nosed young, baggy-shirted upstart. Who does he think he is? Who does men? Sam, if you listen, who are you?
Just Oscar winner.
Get real, will you? What's going on?
I hear his plays at the Donmar are wonderful.
What was he like as a director, though? What were the differences between Peter Hall and Sam Mendes?
But Sam kind of thinks on his feet, rather. Although Peter does a bit, but there's
more instinctive.
Who, Peter or Sam? And I think Peter is more. Probably. If there was a problem, Sam would go away and sit on his own for half an hour and come back with a solution.
You know what he was doing? No, not that. He was phoning Peter Hall. That's what he was doing.
Oh, he probably
He'd
was
go off
phoning
and
Peter Hall.
you thought he was
yes.
thinking he was on the mobile going, Peter Hall, the faintest idea what I'm doing.
Peter's
It's Brenda.
so
She's
clever,
been nominated for the Oscar. I don't want to do. Peter was sad. I've no idea what he talks like.
No, listen here, Sam. Oh, he's just gorgeous, Peter.
I bet he's calm under pressure.
He was calm all the time. He was very kind and gentle. But there was lots of laughs to be had as well.
Have you worked with bad directors? Are there people who, not necessarily in terms of not knowing what they're doing, but just kind of, unpleasant people to work with or difficult with actors?
I've been really lucky, really, really lucky. Greg Hersoff was great to work with at Manchester. Peter Wood, who I've worked with loads of times at the National Theatre. Great people to work with.
Because I imagine that's a big part of the creative process, is if you guys are getting on well and if there's that kind of alchemy that occurs there, then it's going to be a good production, probably.
Yeah. I have to have the director's trust, otherwise I'm hopeless. Yeah. I'm a working class girl, Jonathan. I do as I'm told.
Exactly.
So
once again, it's another reason why we love you. Malleable, easily
if I feel that I have the director's respect and trust, I can kind of give my all.
Because it's a revealing process. It's
yes,
a kind of
is.
and you have to feel comfortable in that. Yeah.
Yeah, but if I'm intimidated, I just I don't invent anything much and just do as I'm told. And if I'm given I just do that and don't think of anything else. Peter is so liberates you, sort of gives you the baton and you can run with it.
And do you prefer doing comedy to doing straighter stuff?
I see comedy and tragedy in everything I do. Every single thing.
Wow. Now, was that a thespian answer or what? That
no,
really
but I do, but don't you? In everyday
No,
life?
I just find everything amusing.
Well, I have to say, I do find humour in everything.
Yeah, I do find it.
But that's what's tragic.
It can sometimes be.
Yes.
Especially when you got your foot caught in an elevator.
I mean, Mrs. Warren, when she's describing to her daughter the terrible ordeals, what drove her to do what she does, it's very funny, but it's gut-wrenchingly sad.
Do you eat a lot of fruit?
I love fruit.
Do you like a mango?
I'm allergic to mango.
That is the one. It's one of the greatest tragedies I've ever heard. I was just wondering, when you eat a lot of fruit, when I eat a lot of food, I break wind more.
Oh, you do?
This is nature's way of telling me that the parasites in my stomach, the friendly...
Have you had fruit this morning?
Yeah, but I haven't broken wind today yet. I just wonder, when you're on stage, there must be times when you really need to cut loose.
Sometimes it's very windy on stage.
Well, I bet.
It's very windy.
Does that add to the laughter, or does it make the tragedy come to the fore?
Well, the laughter drowns it out, fortunately.
Can you imagine doing King Lear?
Yeah.
Goneril, Leps Whip. It would be hard to keep your composure, wouldn't it? There's the dad trying to look stern and... My daughter, which one did that? You're getting nothing. Brenda, it's so lovely to spend time with you. I think are you ending on a track? Is that what you've got planned?
Yeah.
OK. Brenda, we're going to have to love you and leave you.
Oh, it's lovely to be here. Thanks ever so much.
Thanks so much for coming in. It's always a pleasure to spend time with you. Brenda's at the Strand Theatre in London in the title role of Mrs. Warren's Profession. It sounds like a fabulous production.
It is.
With Peter Hall at the helm, it cannot fail to be. Good luck with that, and good luck, and maybe come back on next time you're doing something.
Oh, yeah, please.
Thanks, Brenda. Take care.
Thank you.